Is your man That's the Great checking in once again. Let's get straight to it, man. Oh yeah, this is better. This is much better. Back at the crib, back in the studio. Got a lot on my mind, so let's get straight to it, all right? So, as you may see in the title, my title for this particular stream of consciousness is why are black women terrified of being natural? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Well, first of all, before we even dive into that, let me tell you what brought me to this particular subject. Today, I was just scrolling down my timeline and I happened to come across this clip. Looks like it was from a reunion for some type of dating show. And this black dude, he was just in a room full of black women and he was giving them his thoughts on, his preferences in women. Mind you, his preferences, which he is absolutely entitled to. And he was telling the black woman, he was like, I like a soft feminine woman and I like a woman who doesn't wear, I don't really like wigs. I don't like women that wear wigs. I don't like women that have tons of makeup on their face. I don't like women that wear these long ghetto fingernails. Ironically, it was pretty much completely reiterating what I stated in one of my videos maybe a few months ago, where I was talking about a lot of things that black men find unattractive. Not just black men, actually, not just black men, about men. I was saying why black women as a whole tend to be somewhat uncompetitive in the overall dating market in relations to women of other ethnicity groups and other cultures. And it's due to the fact that black women have a penchant for doing things that are just inherently unattractive to a large scale of men. I stated this in a previous video, and it was just ironic to me because here this black guy is, and he's telling them, I don't like all of these fraudulent features on my woman, and he's entitled to say that because once again, this is his opinion. This is what he likes in a woman. And the thing about it is that this is not just him. There are many of us who feel the exact same way when it comes to a lot of these modifications or enhancements that black women feel that they make to themselves, but when in actuality, there's a large percentage of us that hate these things that black women do to themselves. But I say that to say this: upon him stating his opinion and voicing his thoughts on the subject as far as what he looks for in women and what he likes in a woman, like literally within 5 seconds of him getting that out of his mouth, all of a sudden these wild hyenas descended on him. Like they just started going in on bro. Like, they were resorting to what Kevin Samuels calls sign language, if you're familiar with that. They resorted to sign language, and ad hominem attacks, actually trying to break him down and trying to insult him as a man instead of actually attacking the actual debate itself or the actual premise of his feelings, which is a common tactic that bird brain women like to use. They can't really argue with the logic, and they can't really rebut or give a valid counter argument. So instead of doing that, they're going to attack the man himself. And that's what they did in this particular case. They were saying like, oh, if you can't handle a bad bitch, then just say that. Or if you can't handle a black woman, oh, just say that. You must not like black women. When in actuality, he never said that he disliked black women. He never said that he didn't find black women attractive. He simply said that, listen, in my woman, these are the things that I like. I like a woman who is natural. I don't know why that word is so triggering to so many black women. That word natural. Because I think the reason that it's so triggering to them is that there's such a low percentage of black women who actually are natural, who actually do subscribe to the belief that they don't have any need to put on these hair hats and these cheap ass lace front wigs and this face full of caked up ass makeup and these long ghetto ass fingernails that come out the hair. All of these things that give off a very cheap aesthetic. It doesn't look good. But for some reason, for some wild reason that is beyond me, I'll never understand, so many black women still prefer and live and die by wearing all of these things. And here's the thing. It ultimately comes down to the fact that, all right, let me not get ahead of myself, right? because it's multifaceted. There's nuance to it. Um, as I'm sure a lot of people out there know, right? Black women are often given black men a whole lot of grief about the fact that, especially nowadays, black men are a lot more prone to go and explore what's out there when it comes to dating women from other ethnicities, other cultures, whether it be white women, whether it be Latinas, whether it be Asian women. Black men are exploring their options more so now than ever. And black women like to give black men a whole lot of grief. And they say, why do y'all feel the need to go talk to these other women? Why y'all want to go talk to white girls? Why y'all want to go talk to these Hispanic girls? And yet, at the same time, when we give them the reason for so many men going outside of their own race to date, we tell them, like, listen, it's simple like this. We would love to date black women if y'all actually listen to what we like. Because we tell y'all time and time again, we like this. Y'all look like this, and you continue to carry yourselves in this way, and yet we want women that are like this. So if we tell you that we like women who are natural, who don't wear these hair hats, who don't have ghetto fingernails, who don't have face full of caked up makeup, who don't wear these waist trimmers just to suck their fat ass waist in, because if they pull off the waist trimmer, they'll probably look like the goddamn Michelin Man or a pack of biscuits when you pull it out the pack and it just pops. We want our women to be fit, and unfortunately, when it comes to the demographics, black women are the most out of shape when you compare them to all the other demos. And that also is quite obvious and prevalent just when I'm in the gym on a daily basis. When I look around and I'm looking at the women that are fit in the gym, primarily so, overwhelmingly, when it comes to women who are the sloppiest and the most out of shape in that gym, it is always, they're gonna kill me for this, but it's always the black women who are by far the most out of shape. You got women in here looking great, fit, got their nice tight clothes on. Everybody's looking great in the gym. But when I look across, if I had to divvy it up, for some reason, if I had to choose one ethnicity group that is always a lot more, I don't know, when I had to choose one particular ethnicity group, if I had to choose, should I say, one group that is always less fit and just looks like they put less effort in totality when it comes to physical fitness, it is always the black women. I don't know why that is. That is just how it is. Anybody who works out religiously, one who's in the gym quite a bit will agree with me on that fact, you know? Anyways, I say that because black women wonder why black men are always, why we are always more than willing to go out there and explore women from other cultures and other ethnicity groups when we do tell them what we want in a woman, they couldn't care less. Matter of fact, not only do they not care about what black men want in a woman, but just by us telling them what we want, they will try to shame us for doing that. If a black man tells a black woman, I like these features in a woman. This is the criteria I want in a woman. Instead of actually listening, taking the constructive criticism and making the necessary changes, black women will simply say, oh, no, I'm not changing for anybody. If you don't like it, oh, well, I guess you just ain't intended to handle a bad bitch like me. That is their go-to. They say, listen, we don't need to change. We're fine as is. And okay, that's their prerogative, right? It is every woman's prerogative to feel like she is fine as is, even though it is absolutely delusional to have that mindset when men time and time again are telling them exactly what they want in a woman, exactly what kind of attributes and features they're looking for in a woman, and yet these features do not line up with the great majority of black women. So if that is the case, if we're telling women exactly what we want in our own culture, I'm speaking specifically for black men in this particular case, if we're telling the women in our own ethnicity, in our own culture, women that look like us, so to speak, if we're telling them exactly what we want in a woman, making that very clear, expressing ourselves and articulating our thoughts clearly, if we tell them this, and yet it just falls on deaf ears, then what the fuck do you expect? Of course, black men are going to explore their options with women of many other ethnicities. It just makes sense. You shouldn't hate on it. You shouldn't hate on black men exploring their options. You should simply understand. You should question, why is it that so many black men have made this mass exodus over this last decade plus as far as exploring women that are outside of their race? It's nothing to hate on. The thing is, anytime a black woman sees a man escaping that bucket with all the rest of the crabs, they want to pull him right down. No. Let that nigga go live. Let that nigga go live his life. Why are you trying to pull him back down? He told you what he wanted. You didn't give a fuck. So let him go explore. And that's what's happening. Black men more so now than ever are going out there and they are exploring and they're living life and they're seeing that, damn, these other women, these other women of other ethnicity groups and other cultures, damn, by and large, the great majority of them don't wear no wigs. Damn. Some of them do wear makeup, don't get me wrong. That's going to be a problem regardless. It's just a matter of finding a woman who keeps it to a minimum. Because if a woman is naturally beautiful, and that's what a man is looking for. He's looking for a woman who is naturally beautiful. Any man worth his salt, any man of a certain value is going to want a woman who is naturally beautiful. When you wake up next to her in the morning, is she going to look like she looked the night before? When she wakes up, is half of her face going to be on that pillow? Or is she still going to be just as beautiful as you remember her? Because those are the things that matter to a man. A woman's primary agency is her beauty. Her beauty is what draws a man in. Now, it's going to be all the other things and the other attributes and the other characteristics that keep her in a man's life. But it's her beauty. It's her primary beauty and her natural beauty that is actually going to initially draw the man in. So we want to know, is a woman naturally beautiful? And we can't tell that if you have all this damn caked up makeup on your face. Shit, that's why I say, man, a first date, especially in the summertime, I don't know, we going to the beach, we going swimming, we doing something. We got to get that makeup out the goddamn equation. I need to see who I'm dealing with ASAP. Shit, I ain't playing no games. But just to get back to the actual prime objective of what I'm saying here, is the fact that whenever black women are presented with that, I don't know, I don't even know what I would call it. Whenever they are forced to face the fact that an overwhelming amount of black men nowadays are saying that they prefer a more natural woman. Now, don't get me wrong, you still are always going to have the simps that are just going to take whatever they can get, and they're not even going to cause any waves. They're simply just going to go along and get along because they're just trying to be, on some Derek Jackson, yada, simp ass shit. Because there's always going to be some bitch ass niggas that are just buck dancing, trying to be dancing clowns and just trying to appeal and pander to women. That's always going to be prevalent in society. But when you get down to the crux of it, as far as real masculine black men who are actually out here having their way, who actually are attracting a lot of women at a high volume, who actually have the luxury of being able to look at the field in totality and not have to stick within their race, because that's another thing. If you're extremely niched down, if you don't really look good, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not muscular, you don't dress well, you don't smell good, you don't have good hygiene. When you don't have these qualities as a man, you can't take advantage of what's out there in the field because you don't look good enough to attract women from all other ethnicities. But if you do, then why the hell would you be pigeonholing yourself into just one group? The one group that society as a whole would tell you that you're initially supposed to look at. And we do. Don't get me wrong. As a black man, the first woman you're ever going to look at, the first group of women you're ever going to look at, most likely, is going to be black women. But if you're looking at the black women and none of them are actually portraying themselves in a way that would make you want to actually take them seriously, or you can't see them going with you to like let's say an upper class event. You don't want to be there with some girl that got tats all over her goddamn body with some caked up makeup, get long ghetto fingernails, cheap wig. Nobody wants to have that woman on their arm when it comes to real life. Now, could you turn her into a slam piece, use it for recreational use? Absolutely. But if we're talking about women that we actually want to take serious, it's always going to come down to who's exuding class, who's exuding elegance, who is actually that woman that we could see ourselves wanting to take seriously, wanting to date, possibly wanting to grow old with, maybe creating a family with. It's not going to be someone who has all of these fraudulent features on their body. It's going to be somebody who actually exudes natural beauty, class, a certain level of understated, demure excellence. That's what most men want in a woman. And the unfortunate truth about it is that so many black women particularly, and I'm not trying to make this video to beat up on black women. For the majority of my life, I've dated nothing but black women, So that's the thing. Like, if you look at my track record, for the longest, I had dated nothing but black women. But then, as I grew older, as I matured, as I developed myself as a man, and I really came into my own, I started looking out there like, damn, it's all these beautiful women from all these other ethnicity groups and cultures too. What the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing limiting my options and pigeonholing myself into just this one demo? No, there's plenty of fetch to go around. There's plenty of fetch to go around. So let me bless the world. And that's exactly what I started doing. I started really exploring what was out there, and I liked what I saw. And I still like what I see. That's why never again in life would I ever pigeonhole myself into a certain kind of woman, a certain race, a certain ethnicity, a certain size. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't really deal with the extremes. I don't like any fat women, period. I don't like any super skinny women. So I like slim thick up to, what would they call it? What's below? I don't know what's below that. I don't like any woman that's bigger than. I don't like any big women. I like girls that are thick, but with a shape. You feel me? So I would never date. I don't like any fat women because that shows lack of discipline, and I don't like any girls that are super skinny. But everything that's in between still look like you take good care of yourself from a physically fit standpoint. Yeah. As long as you're a beautiful woman, carry yourself with class, intelligent, great sense of humor, nice body, that's what draws somebody like me in. That's what draws men of a certain level in. You got to be the total package. And black women are not dedicated to making themselves the total package. And what's more frustrating, or should I say what's more perplexing, is the fact that even though black women know that they have to compete with all these other women, they are not willing to put in the work nor the effort to increase their profile, to make themselves more competitive in the overall dating market. Makes no sense, but that's just how it is. So I don't know if anybody out there agrees with my ideology, the way I look at it in this regard, but like I said, this is just me. This is just me getting my shit off. Look at this. Sophia, what are you saying ill to? Like, you must be one of the black women I'm describing. Well, listen. If you have an argument that is contrary to what I'm saying, then by all means, I would be more than happy to allow you to come on and voice your opinion. But I highly doubt that's what you would like to do, because I'll be honest, I'm going to flame broil you, baby. I'm going to flame broil you. Like, I'm speaking from a place of fact. This is not emotion. This is fact. This is a man who has done tons of living. I've dealt with many different women from many different ethnicity groups over the years. And the one thing that continues to reign true over and over again is the fact that it's always the black women who just don't seem like they want to put the work in to be able to compete in the open market. This is what I call, when it comes to the dating scene, when it comes to life as a whole, I call this the open water. It's just like being out in the fucking open water. You have all these other, and well, in the ocean, there's all these other creatures, right? But in the world, you have all these other people. In dating world, you have women, black women specifically, seeing as that's the crux of the argument. Black women have all these other women that they have to compete with in the open water in order to compete for the men that they want. But if you're not willing to actually, one, be open to criticism from the men within your own ethnicity group, if you're not open to listening to what is actually on a man's mind and what they want in a woman, then how the hell do you think you're going to be able to compete with all these other women for these men that you want? Doesn't it just make sense to listen? Stop being so full of yourself. Stop being so dogmatic, so stubborn, so argumentative. Just shut your mouth for a minute, you know? Just shut your fucking mouths for a minute and just listen to somebody who is speaking from a logical standpoint. Because I don't operate off of emotion. I operate off of logic. It's one thing that the mother of my child hates. The fact that I don't operate off of emotion. I operate off of logic. And logically speaking, in order to accomplish any goal in life, you have to understand what you're up against. You have to understand what the actual task is. You have to understand what the actual primary, what the most effective and efficient course of action would be in order to reach that goal. Now, I don't know. I don't know what I can't get in a woman's mind, but I would assume that when it comes to the dating world, when it comes to their love lives, I would assume that women are looking for the very best man that they can attract. I mean, honestly, men are always looking for the same thing, depending on if they're, red pill, they're blue pill, or they're purple pill. I mean, if a man's just in that hunting aspect of life where he's just going after everything, just trying to knock down as much as he can, okay, maybe he's not in that zone yet where he's looking for the best woman. Maybe he's just looking for any woman at that point. But when you're talking about a man who's well-adjusted, settled in, them fucked all of them already, it ain't really no thrill to just keep smashing random chicks. Once you get a man who's actually settled in and who's actually looking for that possible mate for the rest of his life, that possible wife, somebody who's actually exuding those qualities, well, we already know that we got to compete with the rest of the dudes around us. And we got to be our best versions of ourselves in order to make sure that we are the most appealing to those women that we want. So a man doesn't complain about competing. It is simply innate. We already know in our minds that we have to put our best foot forward in order to attract the baddest women, to attract the most attractive women, to attract the women who have those best qualities and criteria that we're looking for. But for some reason, women just have a hard time grasping that concept of competition. And you better believe that when it comes to getting that man that you want, you're going to have to compete for him. And even when you get him, you're still going to have to do your very best and stay on your very best behavior at all times in order to keep him. Black women don't like hearing that, but it's a fact. Even when you get the man that you truly want, then your job is just beginning as a woman. Because there's a ton of other bitches that are going to be trying to take that man from you. So if you start slipping, don't be surprised if his eyes start wandering, even though they're going to be wandering anyway, because that's just natural nature of a man. It is our natural, animalistic human nature to be looking at all of our options, because the majority of men want to have several women. The majority of men can't do that because most of them are either simps or they're not in a position in life where they can demand certain luxuries. But if a woman is really on your program, there's a lot of women out here that are more than willing to be in a, I don't even know what you would call it. I wouldn't call it polyamorous because it's only going to be open one way. No woman wants to have a man who is okay with them being with other dudes. But there's plenty of women out there that are okay with a man occasionally knocking off another chick, as long as he's not bringing home any diseases, any side children, or any embarrassment. That's a fact. I don't know if y'all know that, but that's a fact. Trust me, I'm speaking personally. That is a fact. I've been there. But anyways, man, I don't mean to be long-winded. I just felt the need to make this video because it is more apparent than ever in this current day that The word natural absolutely terrifies black women. It might as well be the boogeyman. Black women do not like having to be accountable with the fact that somewhere over the last, I'd say over the last 10 to 20 years, whew, black women have just gotten out of hand with all the unnecessary fraudulent enhancements to their bodies. And it's time to bring it back to a baseline in order for them to be able to compete with these women of other ethnicity groups on a grand level. I know that's not what any black woman wants to hear, but it's just the goddamn facts, okay? Anyways, let me know if you agree with what I'm saying. You don't have to. Like I said, these are just my thoughts. And these are the things that I've been observing. I'm more than happy to hear your thoughts on this subject, even though I know I'm right. Any man out there, any black men out there who have dealt with enough women of all cultures, ethnicity groups, and also obviously have also dealt with a substantial amount of black women as well. Any man who's been able to, date around and compare, I think they're gonna agree with what I'm saying. It comes with experience, but this video is more so just a declaration of things that I'm noticing, and I'm hoping that at some time in the future, which this is never going to happen, I would hope that black women as a collective start putting forth more effort to move back to that natural baseline, because that's ultimately what most men want. Okay? You don't have to take my word for it, but it's damn sure a fact. All right, man. I'm done talking for tonight, man. I just wanted to get that off my mind. This is your man, Fetch the Great. I'm hollering. Peace.